Hi guys, hope everyone's doing well. Today I'm going to be addressing an issue which came about in a stream a day or so ago, and someone asked me a question which I thought deserved a video on itself, so I'm going to sort of go into that today. So basically someone asked me, do I think Blackmill Games and M2H Studios, the developers of Verdun, did they sort of abandon the console version, have they sort of left us in the dark a bit? And I thought this is a really interesting topic. I've sort of gave my opinion briefly before on streams and videos, but I thought today I'll go into the topic in much more detail. So originally I was of the opinion that devs did sort of abandon this game because I came across quite a game-breaking glitch, and so I'll tell you about it so you get like a bit of context for it. So I played the game the first year it came out. It was running smoothly, there was a lot of players on. There was a few glitches, but nothing too major, nothing that would sort of not make the game enjoyable, I suppose. But I sort of stopped playing the game for a month or two, like you do on Verdun every now and then. And I came back to the game, and every time I tried to sort of log onto multiplayer, I get a timeout connection error. So the timeout connection error glitch was pretty much a game-breaking glitch. I mean, every time you went onto multiplayer, it'd pop up, and no matter how many times you retried it or refreshed it or closed down the game, you'd constantly get it. And it just didn't let you play multiplayer at all, which meant you were only left with one offline game mode, and at the time that was squad defense. Now, if you played squad defense, it's not a bad game mode. It's you versus waves after waves of enemies, and eventually it does get boring. And when you're seeing other people playing multiplayer, you want to go on there and play it. And sort of the reason I'm telling you this is because it didn't get fixed. Now, as the developers of the game, you know, they should be fixing, especially issues that are game breaking, issues that stop you from playing the game as a whole after you've purchased it. They should be fixing it. Now, I emailed them about the glitch specifically because it was affecting my gameplay. I wanted to play a World War I shooter and I couldn't, and never got a reply from them. I understand that they're a small studio, but there was no other forums I could get in contact with them. There was a Steam forum, but they very rarely reply in there, or they did at the time anyway. So I had no other option sort of to just other than to not play the game. And at that point, obviously, you feel like the devs have abandoned the game. When I finally found a way of fixing the glitch, and it wasn't very complicated, but it was still, it was something that you've come across by chance. And I did upload the video if you're still getting the timeout error connection glitch. It's probably the first one I put up on the channel actually. But after I fixed it, I went back onto the game, and it was just filled with bugs and other small minor glitches which made gameplay sort of unbearable. And meanwhile, the PC version of the game has these new updated graphics, sounds, gameplay, where the glitches aren't as bad and sort of gameplay is really smooth. And here on console, they've still got a community of players who are still dedicated to playing the game, and they're getting nothing. They're not hearing anything from the developers. The glitches aren't being fixed. And it just seems unfair. And again, it's looking, you feel like you're abandoned here by the developers, even though you've paid the money for their game. However, in sort of 2019/2018, we finally got some news about this big update, this big sort of reboot for Verdun on console. And in Christmas 2019, so the Christmas just gone, we finally got that update, and the game is much better now, in my opinion. I know some people prefer the older version, which I can understand, but that's for another time. But we finally got these new graphics, new sounds, better gameplay, less glitches, and the game felt better. And I finally felt like the devs have sort of seen that there is still people on console, people are still willing to pay for it, still people are still playing every night, and it's at this point where I think it's sort of changed now. I think the devs do care. Because we're getting information about Tannenberg, their second game in the series that's coming out for console as well. So I think they understand that there's still a community of players on console, and sort of my opinion of them has changed. So if you went back maybe this time last year on the channel, I didn't like the devs at all. I was always saying they don't care, but after this year I think they're starting to care more. It just took a bit of time. One of the major things which I think got the developers looking at this sort of console versions to sort of change their mind a bit was the community events that we set up on PlayStation. Now, these community events were able to get 30 people sometimes to work together using sort of messaging and sort of getting that proper team play going to reenact historical events. And on PlayStation, or especially console, it's very rare to get these events, but we had some really dedicated guys who love Verdun, played Verdun regularly, and we managed to do that. And we managed to take a picture, and I think someone put it on the Steam forum for Verdun, and M2H Games saw it and were really pleased with it. And I think it was after that that they sort of realised that there's still people who want to play the game. So really, I think it's sort of the reason we've got this sort of acknowledgement from the devs is down to the sort of the dedicated players on console. And I'm not quite sure how it is on Xbox, but it'd be great to see some sort of communities going on Xbox as well, because we've got to keep the game alive. We've got to keep it going. But I think, as I say, I think the minds of especially my opinion of the devs has changed. I think they do care now, and they'll continue to care, especially with the release of Tannenberg hopefully coming up this year. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'd like to hear your opinions in the comments, and cheers for watching. Cheers.